Hey everybody, I am back. Sorry for not posting any videos lately. The last couple weeks of Infinity have been weird for me. Either there's been big rules mistakes in the games I've been playing or something along those lines, or I just haven't felt like doing videos for them. You can find everything, all my content and all that kind of stuff on my blog, which is in the description below. So, like I've always said, I don't post every battle report or piece of content as a video. There are a lot more work to do. So if you like my stuff and want to keep up, check out my blog because that's where I post everything. So today I would like to talk a little bit about my LVO experience. If people have been paying attention, then probably know that I've been gearing up and go preparing to head to LVO, which was last week. I got back on Sunday, and then I've just been busy with work and all that kind of stuff, so I haven't had a chance to make a video just yet. So what we're gonna do is I'm not gonna go through all the games in detail because one, a lot of them are murky at this point. It's hard to remember everything that happens when you're playing a lot of rounds in a short amount of time. Also, drinking and things like that. But I also didn't get as many pictures as I wanted of every game. It's difficult to take pictures while you are playing in a clocked environment. So that's something that I'm going to look into a solution for because I will be going to a bunch of other large events this year. And I'd like to, bring you guys quality battle reports from those events. So I might have someone take pictures on my behalf or something like that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So today we're just going to do an overview, kind of talk about my experience, the games in a very general sense, all that kind of good stuff. All right, so let's get into it. So the missions for LVO were, and this is in the order they were played in: Armory, Engineering Deck, Acquisition, Power Pack, Firefight. So I show up. My first round is going to be against Bakunin on this pretty cool Yujing or kind of city table. It's not a good table in my opinion for playing because the buildings are just way too vertical. It takes way too long to get down them. They dominate the field, all that kind of stuff. So not a very good table. Certainly playable, but I know that it was one of the participants' table, so definitely needs more terrain that's not quite so vertical because you're either too blocked or you can see too much, and there's no in between. So the Bakunin list is mostly made up of there's a Morlock and like an engineer over here. There's a Riot Girl Link, as you can see here, with a missile launcher, Spitfire, Forward Observer, regular lady, all that kind of good stuff. That's going to be his main piece in the mission. Over here, we've got some zeros and stuff. So I'm just gonna fly through these. Like I said, basically his list was 3 0 mine layers, a Taskmaster, a Riot Girl Link, 2 Morlocks, some cheap engineer thing, and I think that's about it. I don't really remember anything else. My lists will be in the description below, so you can check them out. They are by name of mission, so it'll be pretty obvious which one I played in which mission. This one we're doing Armory. So I won. No, I lost the lieutenant role in this. Bakunin player decides to go first. Horrible mistake. There's no advantage to going first in Armory. You should always go second if you can, unless you have an extreme rushdown style list. But even then, there is nothing for you to do as far as flip consoles or anything like that. So you're going to spend a bunch of orders walking over to their side of the board and probably into a lot of AROs. So don't ever go first in Armory unless you have to. I go second, which is I feel great about, and then I decide to take the side that's near camera because I have those big towers and things like that, and I don't want my Bakunin opponent to have that kind of stuff. I'm not super familiar with Bakunin. Played against a lot of vanilla nomads. That's really big in my meta. People don't really play nomad sectorials though, so I wasn't sure if they had any missile launcher or sniper that's commonly taken, but there ended up being a missile launcher in the Riot Girl team, although I don't think he would have put her in the tower. So that's why I took that side. Ended up being a large mistake. Totally forgot that the objective room is infinitely tall. So even if he had these towers, they wouldn't do anything. All you can do is get a line of sight when you're coming around the side or something like that. I'm actually going to bring up my my drawing program so that we can use that if we need to as well. Let's get it off the screen though. Very professional. All right. Yeah. So I mean, if you're coming around like this or like this, then you can see. Otherwise, it does nothing for you. So because I misremembered that, I ended up taking the worst side. We'll backtrack on the pictures a little bit here. So this whole like pagoda thing is insanely valuable. The walls are very tall. It has great openings. You can set up traps in there. You can break guys out in there with smoke very easily. So I definitely should have taken that side. Just fucked up on the mission, like I said. So we get into the game. Turn 1, nothing much really happens from Bakunin. The missile launcher blows open the door so that he doesn't have to open the door for me with a specialist. And then a Zero walks in. I think it places a mine, something like that. The rest of the army is sort of afraid to go in, which I don't think is a good idea, especially with the type of list that he took with a lot of multiple wound, fairly tough models. You have to just jam them in there and get it done. But that's what ended up happening. On my turn 1, I discover and kill the Zero. I knock down the door with my missile launcher, same way. And then I just move my Liberto over and put him into the objective room. I may or may not have a shot of this. I don't remember. Yeah, I think this is turn 1. Yeah, so you can see the Liberto is the camo token is in the objective room there. So first turn, everything's going just fine. I haven't taken any losses. I've developed my army a little bit, getting it closer to the objective room, and I managed to hold it at the end of the round, so I have a point going there. We go over to the next turn. This is just like Myra Sale moving up and all that kind of fun stuff. So on the next turn, he decides to push not everything, but a lot of things into the objective room. I believe it was 2 or 3 Riot Girls and a Zero ultimately. So a lot more of a commitment there. My Liberto dies as it gets discovered and all that kind of stuff. But again, there's not too much in the objective room, and I definitely see a opportunity here. Okay, so this is a very important picture and pretty much decided the entire game. So we have Riot Girl, we have Zero, and we have Mine. So very obvious it's a mine because it's a Zero mine layer. I asked if you used mines, all that kind of stuff. So I know for 100% fact that silhouette camo token is a mine. All right, so this is also an important picture. So what happens is I have my Gaurail Triad very close to the room, and the plan is to smoke up the room and then go in with a McCall and just kill everything. Because Riot Girls are not good in close combat. They only have BTS 3. The Zeros have no BTS and also suck in close combat. And I have like 9 orders after moving to get all this done with. So it's very likely that I just managed to clear the whole room. I could put something in there that doesn't cost very much. And then the game is pretty much over from there because the Riot Girl link will be broken. The Spitfire and I think a boarding shotgun were in there. So the 2 best models, because the missile launcher isn't very useful in this situation. I think the other ones just had regular, whatever a Riot Girl comes with, like, some kind of combi or something, I'm sure. So that was the plan. Unless I get crit on, it's a very good plan. And the odds of that are, obviously 1 in 20. I have a 3 in 20 chance to crit because of my CC 22. So it's a good plan. So I move the Corral up and I drop a smoke here after dropping a smoke here to get across safely. I think the dog gets killed by some ARO over here, something like that. I don't care about the dog. The dog is irrelevant. All I want is the smoke in there and the McCall. So everything goes down and I have a complete just my brain just goes somewhere else and I forgot that there was a mine in there. I walk the McCall in. The mine goes off and kills him. So at that point, the game completely falls apart. I have no other close combat type models that are anywhere around. The only other one would be the McCall, which is stuck up on the tower, or the Certabeast, who is unconscious. So just a bunch of misplays by me there. All I needed to do was walk someone in and eat the mine. Could have easily done it with the Corral, no problem. I don't care if he lives or dies. It's not important. All that matters is that I clear this room out, because then there's going to be very few models for my opponent left that can stand in there. And all I would have to do is smoke the room on turn 3 and just throw everything in there, just put all my points in there, and he can't do anything about it because there's no MSV2 or anything like that. So I end up losing the game 8-2, I think, because of that misplay. I don't have anything that can challenge the Riot Girl link or any of that stuff. I go for some last minute template attempts and things like that, but all the dodges are good. Nobody burns to death or anything like that. So the game ends up being a loss just because I played poorly. Really disappointing loss. I think I had a much better list and played much better than my opponent outside of that one instance. He didn't seem to have a really good plan for dealing with the armory. I don't think his list was very good. It was very one direction. So I was a little salty to lose in that way to that kind of army. But there's not much I could do. So we go, I'll just pass through here. So this is going to be round 2 where we're going to play engineering deck. I am up against a Canadian fellow who I forgot the name of. I forgot almost everybody's names. I'm really sorry if I played you and you watched this video. I am just really bad with names in general. But anyways, he's playing Vanilla Aleph, 1 combat group, has an Asura, 2 Sir, 2 TR bots, some kind of doctor, I think a proxy doctor, because he had the TO proxy as well, and I think the regular like shoot 'em up proxy. A Dakini with HMG, so there's 3 HMGs in the list. And then like some Yed bots, a Myrmidon officer, I believe. I think that was most of it. I don't remember him having any net rods. I think it was just 10, models. So I win the lieutenant role. I choose to have him deploy first on the far side of the table, as you can see, thinking that most people do not like to go second and deploy second, because you can get rushed down on that, and then on this table that's especially a worry because there's not any like particularly hard to get around terrain. It's just little buildings and stuff. So if he does go second, I'm going to be very aggressive with the triad and start picking stuff off and then just fall back, and we'll go there. But he chooses to go first, as I had hoped, because again, going second in this mission is a gigantic advantage. So you can see I'm just mostly deployed on the right-hand side there, but everything is very hidden. He doesn't have that many orders to work with, only 10 plus a lieutenant, and I don't think Aleph is going to come get me that hard unless Achilles is there or something like that. But through some pre-game talking, I got the impression that there was no Achilles in the list he was using for engineering deck, so I kind of hedged my bets there. So this is just going to be an overview of the table and all that kind of stuff. His turn 1 just moves up, puts a lot of people in defensive positions. I don't know if I have good shots. See, like I'm talking about, I don't have good shots of these, but really just puts the Asura in the objective room, grabs the console there, grabs the other 2 consoles that are on his side, one with the TO camo proxy and one with some other model. It's some FO or something like that. So that's exactly what I wanted to happen. I could care less if he gets those consoles because I plan on taking them back later. I just don't want to lose anything, and I want to have first opportunity at attrition, and that's exactly what happens. So on my turn, let's see if I have any shots of this. Yeah, you can see like a lot of stuff's in suppressive. He has the TR bots back there, all good. Gets his Xenotech done, I believe. That's in the objective room. Yeah, so I get my Xenotech done, and then I start trying to kill stuff. So there was like a TR bot here, but I use smoke grenade to... so it's going to be in good range, but I use a smoke grenade and cover to make sure that it's going to be at -6 overall against my Gaurel. Still could crit on a 5. That's just the risk that you take, but didn't end up hitting it all. And then the Gaurel puts it unconscious. I give him another order, finish it off because I know there's an engineer in the list, so need it to stay dead. Yeah, this is way in the future. And then I do the same thing with a Dakini tac bot that also had an HMG. So do the exact same trick, use the smoke. It wasn't suppressive, so it's pretty much the same thing over again. And then the same outcome happens. I knock it into unconscious 1 or 2, finish it off so that he can't engineer it back. And that's mostly all I get done on my turn besides like repositioning some stuff. I got my Xenotech and all that good stuff. I'm not going for any of the consoles just yet. I'm just trying to make it hard for him to defend the objective room. So really bizarre turn 2 from our Canadian player where he puts I think he puts his entire turn's worth of orders into the TO camo proxy. So it started like way back near his console. So it was in a marker state. It's walking towards me. I'm delaying because I don't care if he walks up and grabs my console with it. I have a bunch of specialists nearby that'll just grab it back. But then he eventually starts getting into some face to face rolls with the Gao Rail, ends up killing it, and then just kind of stands there because he runs out of orders. He has to eat through the Symbiont, and then all my wounds plus moving. And there was a couple times in there where we would bounce off each other, or I would make the arm save, something like that. So it ends up taking like his entire turn to do that. Mistake for me is that and this I kind of attribute to Pain Team, but these guys were here the whole time, probably for like 3 or 4 orders, and should have just been like shooting this guy for free. But I was pretty far back from the table, and you can see that they're not painted, they're silver, so they kind of blended in, and I just didn't see them. So that was certainly a mistake on my part. But on my turn, I decided to kill the proxy. So we just I think I throw a smoke grenade from I think a McCall or something like that, so that I won't let him boarding shotgun me on the way in. I just want to walk into melee with him. So we do that. I get the Corral and the Starter Beast in there, so it has 2 attacks. Immediately kills the thing with its viral claws. So really all my opponent got during turn 2 was he killed 1 model, and then I immediately killed it for like 2 orders. So not a very good trade there. The Starter Beast, I believe, does end up dying. Yeah, what happened is it got put into dogged on one of the swings, so I just rolled bad or something like that. And then it's going to die at the end of the turn anyways, so I send it up here and have it pulsar the Asura, even though she has a good BTS, and it actually does a wound to her, and she kills it, because I just wanted to get some work out of the thing before it died, so I was like, pulsar it, maybe she dodges or something like that, in which case then I could move into melee with her, and then maybe get some actual damage done, but the thing just died, traded it for a wound on the Asura, totally fine with that. This is me going into the objective room with my Rassail's Chaxa. So basically what happens is I'm just getting everything up near the objective room, because my opponent's taking losses and stuff like that. He's running low on orders. He doesn't have any like super powerful fighters left, except for maybe Tusser, who I'm not going to let him use because he's in a building like somewhere up this way, and all my stuff is like down here. So, and he never really moved Tusser. He just wanted me to come say hi to him, which is never going to happen. So I move into here and I try to flame the Asura. She dodges and moves away, all that good stuff. And now we're over to turn 3 for my opponent. So the other TR bot walks past. I flame it as I see it. It shoots me. My Chaxa goes unconscious. The Rem goes unconscious. Yudbot comes up after a couple orders, fixes it, which gets my opponent as classified. The engineer one, where you have to fix something with structure. So that gets done. But again, that's like 3 orders, and I think he only has like 6 or 7 left at this point, and it's the last turn of the game. So I'm fine with that. And then he doesn't really do too much. Yeah, I have some Chaxas on my side here, and the Asura just starts killing them, which is fine. I think spends pretty much the rest of the orders just killing a couple of these Chaxa. Couldn't care less. There's not very many points in the objective room, points models. Ultimately, he ends up with the Asura and the Myrmidon officer in there. And then what I do is the Rassail comes up, gets my Xenotech in there, manages to kill the Asura with his viral combi after a couple face-to-face rolls and all that good stuff. I get the Corral in here. And then again, this is my fault for misreading the mission, but so eventually I flip 3 consoles. I get the center one and my 2, so I have more consoles. And then I thought that on engineering deck it was points like it is on armory, but it's actually you just have to kill all of your opponents. You can be the only person in there with models that are alive. So I didn't have enough orders, and what happened is I can't get to the Myrmidon officer, so I don't end up actually controlling the room. But I get all the points. I get my classified, and I get the consoles, and I don't remember if there's anything else. But I end up getting a major win, like a 6-1 major win or something like that. So 1-1 after day 1, not too bad. Not very happy with myself for misreading both missions, because that probably would have made a big difference. But nothing to do but soldier on. All right, so we show up on day 3. I'm 1-1, so I'm certainly right in the middle of the pack, which is not the worst place to be. And my round 3 opponent is going to be Tartary Army Corps, which is probably one of the armies that I feel the most comfortable playing against. I have a regular who plays them, and I play against him quite a bit, or a local, I should say. So I know a lot of their camo tricks and stuff like that. It's very easy to pick out what's going to be what. My opponent's list is like the Frontovic fire team with Vasilis in there. There's an Antipode assault pack in there. There's a couple Strelok Ford observers. There's I don't really remember what else. I don't think that many other things came into play. There wasn't any Pavel. There wasn't any tank hunters. None of that kind of stuff. No 112 bikers. Yeah, just mostly like the kind of standard stuff that you see. And then this is the table that we play on. So I win the lieutenant role, I believe, and do the same thing where I put my opponent on the preferred table side and have him deploy first. So he chooses to go first, which I was fine with because we're playing acquisition, so going second is a really big advantage as per most missions. And then basically just a rinse and repeat strategy. I just want to lose nothing on turn 1. He can have all the consoles and all that kind of stuff, and then I'll take them back as the game goes. That's the plan. So I take this table side, and as you probably noticed, there's this really big corridor here, which just has some scatter and stuff, but it's like the whole table you can see down. And then the tech coffin is here. So my thought is if I put him on this side, he's going to have to come this way or this way or this way to get to the tech coffin, and then I can use the Gaurel with the smoke to gun down a bunch of the fire team or whatever kind of pokes its head out, and Tech really has no counterplay for that. Like, they have no MSV2 that I can think of. There certainly wasn't any in his list, and it's just going to be, you know, dodging and me basically picking stuff up with 5 dice and just killing things. So that was the plan going in. We deploy and all that fun stuff. You can see the antipodes. I have a crack god on top of the building. I was hoping he would get super jump or climbing plus, but he did not. So he's probably going to be stuck up there for most of the game, especially because there's a definitely Vasily right here. So he won't be able to crawl because he'd have to stand to get to the ladder and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, my deployment is pretty much what I want. So you can see here that I have the Corral and I have the Gaurel Triad right here. So I can smoke and advance, and then, you know, just kind of work that way. So that's the basic plan. And these are just some overview shots. Turn 1, oh yeah, there's some Ermendinos and stuff too. That's yeah, there's Ermendinos, and I think there was a Spetsna HMG. Those are probably the last elements of the list. So just moving some stuff around, nothing really happening. There is kind of a humorous thing on turn 1 where, so my Liberto is here, the Antipode pack comes up, and the mine goes off on them, on all 3. 1 dodges, 1 makes the arm roll, and 1 dies. So they just do that. And then I think I have some shots. So yeah, you can see here that that's the mine went off. So yeah, then the other 2 climb up the building, which is a terrible idea, giving me a free chain rifle arrow. I hit them both. One of them dies. So I was like, you know, this Krakot's, he wasn't in a position to do that much work because I didn't deploy him very well. So I don't mind trading him for all these antipodes or whatever. So the last antipode walks into combat. We have almost identical melee stats, so I just choose to berserk because I'm like, I'll just trade. I crit the antipode and it dies. I get hit, but I pass the armor save or the armor roll. So the Krakot actually lives and got to take out both of the antipodes and took a bunch of orders with him. So that was kind of funny. But nothing else really happens on turn 1. Someone's doing construction nearby. And you can see that my plan is kind of working because there's stuff coming along in the middle here just to try to get near the tech coffin, get near the Xenotech and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, great, this will be fantastic. Cut to my turn 1, and the Corral Preceptor uses every single order in my group 2 pool, including converting the irregular from the Liberto, to try to throw 1 smoke grenade on a 14, and he fails every single time. I think it was 4 or 5 tries, and I just could not get a smoke grenade down. My dice wouldn't, I think they didn't roll less than a 17 on any of the rolls. So Now my whole plan is screwed because I couldn't get the smoke down because I got diced. So I pull out with the Gow Rail and just try to make some stuff happen, but I'm against a fire team and all that. So and I'm in the open. Not in the open. I have cover, but I don't have the smoke, which wouldn't have helped me anyways. But what the smoke does is it frees up my movement because only the thing that I'm shooting gets to arrow back with Sixth Sense level 2. So I just pick on somebody who's weak at that range band, somebody with a rifle or something like that, kill him. That gets rid of the +3 ballistic skill for the fire team. Then I try to find another mook, and that gets rid of the Sixth Sense level 2, and now the whole fire team is fucked. But that didn't pan out. So I ended up having to basically do not very much on my turn. I think I got like my Xenotech beacon placed and developed some other models and some stuff like that. But that's basically the gist of what happened on turn 1. So turn 2, this is the game that's the foggiest for me. So sorry, I'm trying to remember what happened. I think on turn 2, he does pretty much the same stuff, just reorients the fire team, gets into some good arrow positions, grabs the consoles, gets guys into base to base with the consoles. So pretty demanding, or pretty commanding scenario lead. And then at this point, my smoke trick isn't really going to work anymore because he's gotten guys prone and things like that where I won't be able to see them nearly as easily. So I kind of have to scrap that plan. I don't do very much on turn 2 either. I think I kill some Straylocks, I kill Vasily, some other stuff like that, the Armandinos, and I get one of the consoles back, the left console, but that's pretty much it. So on the last turn, what happens on the last turn? On the last turn, he reveals the Spetsna, who moves over and kills my guy that flipped the left console. So it's still mine, but I'm not controlling it anymore. And then he moves a camo token to control it. So we're kind of split on that side. And then he moves up the fire team, but doesn't really get into base to base with the tech coffin. You can see here that he has a camo token. One of them is a mine, one of them is a Straylock, and then the thing with the marker is the Xenotech. So the data tracker is in the back, but is not touching the tech coffin. I'm not sure why he did that, because, I mean, obviously I could try to kill it, but if you don't even try to put it into base-to-base contact, it doesn't do anything. So not that big of a deal there. So mostly just set up in defensive positions. I'm a little short on orders here because I've lost some cheap models and stuff like that. And I'm kind of in a desperation mode here. Oh yeah, this is what happened. So the game, I did not manage to drop the beacon with the Xenotech. And then some stuff happened where the Rasail moved away from her and was no longer civilian synced. It was either that or I was just going to get killed with an HMG. So I have to grab her again with somebody and place that. So the first thing I do is my Calypsos reveals on the right objective, flips the console, gets gunned down by a whole bunch of guys. So that was tight because I had to make that in one order or I was never going to get it. So I flipped that one, but he has a guy in base to base. So I have both consoles, but he controls both of them. So we're totally even there. And then I managed to smoke up the middle a little bit, get him a call over there, as you can see in the photo, sync up with the Xenotech after failing one time, managed to drop the beacon, so that gets done. So now we have the exact same score, except for that he is in control of the tech coffin. So I do some coordinated orders with like Chaxas and stuff. This is a good shot of that, where I'm moving them up, flaming things. Some stuff is dodging, some stuff is shooting. Managed to kill the Straylock, managed to get rid of the mine, managed to kill, I think, one of the Frontovics, as you can see. The other one's still up. And then I don't activate the Chaxa again because he actually makes it into base-to-base contact with the tech coffin, so now nobody controls it. So we are 2-2 tied. I have like 2 orders left after doing all of this in group 2. So I move the Liberto towards the right-hand side. You can see him here. It's a stand-in model. Because I can't get my classified done, but I could trade in for HVT secured if I can get him over there. So I move, I get discovered, which is fine. And then I move again and dodge because I'm going to be in range. But I lose the face-to-face roll. and get hit with a heavy pistol, which has shock. So I don't even get to go dogged either. And that was the last order of the game. So the game ends in a 2-2 tie because the Liberto died. Otherwise, I would have gotten a 3-2 minor victory. Again, really salty about this game because I feel like I lost to the Corral just not being able to make a dice roll. I very rarely say I lose a dice, but this I would say is a good example of that, because if I manage to drop that smoke, then I'm going to be able to kill at least 2 of the fire team members, and that gives me control of the middle, and the game just goes from there, where I'm able to just push that advantage more and more. But because that didn't work, I didn't get to develop the triad, and then they were far back, so I couldn't use them to deal with things that I needed them to deal with on turn 2, like Vasily or the Spetsnaz or something like that. So the game just kind of tumbled away. Ordinarily would be good to have a backup plan, but when you have so many chances and you just need to roll a 14 or less, it's not like it's a face-to-face roll or anything like that. I think it's very reasonable to proceed with that plan, but I just got diced and ended up, at least making it a tie instead of a loss or something like that. I don't feel like my opponent played particularly great. He didn't really do anything bad or anything like that. A little too apprehensive about like moving up to the various objectives and things like that. So he was definitely playing scared a lot, and that's probably another reason I was able to pull it back to a tie. But overall, just a weird game. So at this point, I'm 1-1-1, not feeling super great. But if I win my goal is to win my last 2 games, because then I can at least have a decent record, and I might be have a respectable placing. So the next mission is going to be Power Pack. I am playing against Matt Raptor from Colorado and California. I only remember his name because it was written on all of his stuff, and it's a cool name, Matt Raptor. Like that's an awesome name. So shout outs to Matt Raptor if you ever watch this. But he was playing US Ariadne, and we are playing on this weird, again, 2 vertical table. Not enough scatter, way too vertical. That's just my opinion on it. I feel pretty good about US Ariadne. They don't really have anything that's powerful other than Van Zant. Most of their guys are just kind of regular dudes that have armor, but armor 3 isn't really anything to worry about, especially when you're playing Tohaa and you have tricks to get around armor and all that kind of stuff. So once I heard that, I was feeling okay. The problem is that Power Pack is a very bad mission for Tohaa because of the saturation zone. So basically you have no bonuses to being in the triad other than getting to move models with fewer orders. So I was worried about that part, but everything else feels okay. So his list, I don't remember everything in it. It had Unknown Ranger. It has 2 of the tractor moles that are TR bots, which I've never seen anybody play before. They don't seem that great. He has 2 dynamos, the bikers. He has a grunt team with a sniper and like a doctor and I think one other, like a light grenade launcher or something like that. He has a war driver hacker, an engineer of some kind, I think the one with the tractor mole device. That's and then like a bunch of foxtrots, like I think as many foxtrots as you could possibly have. So which is good for the mission because they have infiltrate and all that good stuff. I think they're all forward observers as well. So I basically just concentrate my forces in this area. I believe that I lose the lieutenant role in this one, and my opponent chooses to go first. Totally fine with me. Power Pack again. You're very advantaged if you go second. So my only goal is to just bunker up and not die to Van Zant. So most everything goes over here, but the Sukil Triad and like a Chaxa and a Kael'tar kind of go around this area. So I'm going to split a little bit. And then my HVT goes back here because that's what you do in Power Pack because the mission's not well written. Anyways, you can see some of my deployment stuff there. Everybody, I'm watching all angles of approach, trying to get as many templates as possible and stuff like that. I'm trying to be as Van Zant immune as possible. You can see the tractor mole here, a dynamo, Unknown Ranger. Matt's army, beautifully painted, by the way, has like freehand iconography on everything. All of his models are named. They have names written freehand on the back of their bases, and then that correlates to the like the courtesy list he'll give you and stuff. So that was really cool. I thought that was awesome. And then most of the grunts and all that kind of stuff are in this building to my left, as you can see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So he goes first. Not too much happens other than a dynamo moves up, and I have my Kraka in here. The dynamo goes into here. I chain rifle. He shoots me with a boarding shotgun. Kraka dies. Dynamo makes his armor save. So not a good trade for me, but that's how it went. Throws a lot of smoke everywhere. Like there's some smoke on the right side here, so that the Sukyo can't see him, I guess. And then spends a bunch of orders on Unknown Ranger. I keep wanting to call him Captain America because that's what everybody calls him, and he painted him like that. But Unknown Ranger moves up, gets the Xenotech beacon planted on the saturation zone, and then pulls back a little bit. But it takes like all of Group 2's orders to do that, so a little inefficient there. You can see that stuff going on here. And then some of the Foxtrots just move around. Like I have my Liberto here, and I had a mine up on this table. So what happens is Matt's not really sure how to deal with that, I guess, because he moves one of the Foxtrots, and then I just hold, and then he lays a mine. So there's a mine here, and then he just keeps moving up the stairs. I just keep holding because I don't care. The only thing I care about if he does is if he tries to go for the console, which he's not. So I'm fine if he wants to discover me or something. That's on him, but. Otherwise, sorry, my cat just jumped on the table. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay in camo state. I believe the mine that I put down eventually goes off on the Foxtrot, but he lives. So not too much there, but again, some wasted orders, just like moving around and being indecisive and all that kind of stuff. So on my turn, I move up with the Rasail. I kill the Unknown Ranger, even though he's in suppressive fire, because I flanked him with the Chaxa and the Rasail. So it's like, are you going to dodge? Because then the Rasail is probably going to hit you and you're not in suppressive anymore. If you shoot back, then the Flame Template is very likely to kill you and all that good stuff. So I think he did choose to dodge, and then the Unknown Ranger goes down. Really easy pickup for me, and it also lets me get my Xenotech towards the middle because I usually put the Xenotech on the Rasail. Over on the side here, I do the kind of standard my anti-Ariana trick, which is throw smoke down, move the Gaurel out, start discovering people and shooting them. So that's what happens here. I kill the sniper on top of the building, the grunt sniper, which is good because that had a pretty good line of fire there. And I believe I also kill the Foxtrot that is a silhouette token, like right here. So I think I kill both of those and then just pull back just to get rid of some stuff. And then towards the end of the turn, I don't have much left to do. So the Sukiel moves forward a little bit, and eyeballing it, I think I'm like just within 8 for her light shotgun against the Foxtrot. I am. He chooses to dodge. I hit, but he makes his arm rolls, so he goes back down the stairs, as you can see. And then with the last order, I just shoot the missile launcher at the mine. I just discover it and discover BS attack and manage to destroy that, so the mine's gone. Not really that impactful. Turn 2, yeah, you can see the Foxtrot's dead here. He moves the War Driver down. I've left the Gaurel out intentionally while pulling the other guys back because I think he wants to kill it, and I want him to spend his turn doing so. So eventually the War Driver uses like 3 orders and comes down here, and then the Dynamo also comes through here as well. It's a little small for his base, but we just decide to hand wave it. It's not a big deal. And then he uses coordinated orders to start shooting both of their shotguns at the Gaurel. After a bunch of face-to-face rolls, manages to kill it, but again, uses pretty much all of his command tokens as well as his, like most of his Group 1 orders. So that's the trade that I wanted. And then the War Driver flips the console. I don't care. So we go over to my turn, and I'm just playing for attrition at this point. So the Sukiel moves over, puts a missile into the Dynamo, who tries to smoke dodge, fails. Missile blows him into 1,000 pieces. The Rasail moves up, kills the Tractor Mole on this side, and also lets me plant my Xenotech beacon. So I got all that stuff done. Not super sure what's going on here. Yeah, so I had my Calypsos infiltrate onto this guy right here because he's on top of a very tall building. There is a Foxtrot who's like making his way up. And I was going to wait until after the Foxtrot flipped the console, but we're running a little low on time, so I decided to be more proactive. So the Calypsos reveals, stays prone so that nobody can shoot it, flips the console, moves up a little bit, drops a mine, which is the Hollow Echo token. I couldn't find my mines or my tokens fast enough, so I just used whatever I had, and then goes back into TO camo state. So I have the console in the middle. There's a mine defending it, as well as the Calypsos. So if the Foxtrot is completely on his own. He has no reinforcements or anywhere close by. So he's not only going to have to live through a mine, but he's going to have to live through a Calypsos arrow as well. So I feel pretty good there. And then he would also have to flip the console. If all that happened, it would be bad for me, but I'm kind of hedging my bets there. I moved my spare Kael'thar over with smoke so that nobody can see him. There's like a smoke grenade that's covering probably like this much of the building, like an eclipse smoke grenade. And I just long skill climb him up, grab the console. So now I have 2 consoles to my opponent's 1. And then I just decided to leave him prone there, and he's prone behind the console, which are their real height, and oh no, they're not their real height. I'm sorry, they're just silhouette 5. So I can't be seen behind it because I'm prone, and then I have the Kael'thar and the Liberto to watch the Foxtrots. I believe I reveal the Liberto and just chain cult the Foxtrot or something like that and managed to kill it. I think he tried to dodge instead of shooting back. So that's why there's an unconscious one on that one to the right side. So it's just that one Foxtrot, and he's going to have to deal with a chain cult and a light shotgun, which is very unlikely that he makes it through. So I feel good about that side as well. And then I just move my Kosul up. Can't take this this console just yet because you can only ever have 2 out of 3 in Power Pack. But it gives him some cover. He's forward. He still has his Symbiont in all of his wounds, so he's very hard to dislodge. And I believe I managed to kill the War Driver with him as well. We just have some shotgun offs, but I'm just a little bit better than he is at it because of extra burst. So it goes my way, and I managed to put him down there. This is actually the last picture I took of the game because the game gets weird from here. I assume Matt just gave up because he spends all of his orders on the 3rd turn trying to speculative fire a light grenade launcher onto my Corral. Doesn't hit a single one. I dodge every time. Hey, Kitty, what are you doing? Want to say hi? Hey, Kitty. So he just basically uses his turn to do nothing. Doesn't move any models, doesn't kill anything, does nothing. So I feel like he just kind of gave up there. And I spend my last turn just getting into position for... sorry, all my animals are going crazy now. Get on the ground, you. Just securing my classified and moving the Rasail over to get into base to base with his beacon or whatever it is in the back there. So I managed to do that, and I believe it ends up being a 10-1 major victory for me. I think he got his classified done. Or no, it was 10-3 or something like that because he also got the Xenotech done. So he got some points, but I got max points, which was really good because Power Pack was definitely one of the missions I was worried about. So now we're 2-1-1 going into the last round. Here's the table for the last round. Again, not a super ideal table, but better than a lot of the other ones have been. There's a good amount of scatter. It's not too vertical other than some of those blue and green buildings, which thankfully didn't come into play. So nothing, a playable table. I'm going up against, I don't remember the guy's name, but his ITS handle is Shinikoku. I think he's from California, Santa Fe or something like that. But he was playing Steel Phalanx. So we both have the exact same record, and we're playing in Firefight. So Steel Phalanx in Firefight is probably one of the missions that they're better at, because Steel Phalanx is not particularly tricksy or anything. They just want to kill you. And when I heard Steel Phalanx and I heard Firefight, first thing on my mind is Achilles. So that's what I was kind of mentally preparing myself for. The list itself was 2 combat groups. I believe there was 2 net rods, 2 Enematarchos of Thorikites, 1 Enematarchos of Myrmidons, Achilles, the ODD version, and I think that's it. Yeah, there wasn't any drop troops or anything like that. So it's mostly Achilles, the list. But crucially, it has 2 combat groups, which you should never do if you're going to make an Achilles list, because I'm able to strip 2 orders away. So we do the lieutenant roll, he wins, he chooses to go first, which you should in Firefight, because there's no advantage to going second. I have him deploy on the far side, because it has a much more open route to the center of the table than mine does. So that's whatever advantage I can eke out. And then I don't have good deployment shots, but basically one of the Thorikite groups goes here. The other one goes like here. The Myrmidons go here. The net rods go here. They both stick their landing. And then I think Achilles starts back here or something as his hold model. So I'm expecting Achilles the entire time. I don't have anybody who's particularly good at killing him. So it's going to either need to be smoke tricks and extended face-to-face rolls, or get him into a bad situation against the missile launcher or something like that. Because if I can get the missile launcher there and strip his ODD first, that'll kill him pretty quickly. But I will have to strip the ODD first. Those are kind of my two plans going into the game. So we're just doing some setup here. On the right side, I put the Sukiel Triad, the Spare Kael'tar, and I think a Chaxa. Everything else goes into this bunker that I built on the left-hand side. So the Rasail's in there, the Corrail's in there, my Galrail Triad's in there, the rest of the Chaxas are in there, all that kind of stuff. And the goal is... oh no, my Spare Kael'tar was over here. Sorry about that. The goal is to get Achilles to walk in like this way and have to deal with multiple guys at once. Or if he comes like this way, then he'll have to deal with the Certabeast first, which isn't a big obstacle, but it'll just slow him down. Everything I'm trying to do is just slow him down, because active turn Achilles is effectively unstoppable. So that's all I want to do is scare him off as much as I can and things like that. So we get into the game. Achilles spends like 2 orders walking. So he only started with 8 because I stripped the command pull down, or the order pull down by 2, and then he's used 2 more to walk. So he only has 6 orders to play with, which is still a lot, but it's less than he would normally have. So he starts off pretty conservatively, just moving around here to see just this Quarry Sentinel. Nothing else sees him, which is fine. Like, I have some chaff models that I'm okay with Achilles gobbling up if it takes orders. I'm willing to trade Achilles orders for models, some models. And then that's what happens. So we have a face-to-face roll there. I think hilariously enough, we bounce off of each other because... Oh, no. What happens is the Quarry crits him because of the ODD. So the first thing that happens to Achilles is he takes a wound from a submachine gun that some little 10-point crap model has, which just made me laugh. And this visibly tilted my opponent. Like, he was like rolling his eyes and getting upset already and stuff like that. So he continues on, and then we have a few more face-to-faces in here. He moves up a little bit and sees the Corrail, the Quarry, and I think the Rasail maybe. Doesn't take any damage, and then manages to, over time, take a wound off of the Corrail. A lot of these fights were not good for Achilles because it's the Spitfire Achilles, and we were always within 8 inches. That was another part of the bunker that I had, is he would have short ranges to people. So he's always on just 15s, which is still very high, but it's not... he's on either 15s, or a lot of the times he's on 12s because of cover. So he's on 0 band for the Spitfire and then cover, and that's what's letting me like hang in these firefights a little bit. He's missing. I'm able to kind of like bounce dice or win, or he makes arm saves and stuff like that. And eventually he just pulls Achilles back to here, having done nothing. No models died. I didn't lose any symbiomates. All that happened is I took a wound on the Corrail Preceptor. That is it. So at this point, I feel hugely advantaged because Achilles just bounced off of my list, and he's not far away enough that I can't get to him, so I can go for a run on him or do whatever. The rest of the orders move up the Thorakites that were already pretty far up, just a little bit more, taking up some ARO positions. I think Alki was in that Enmatarkos, if I remember correctly. So he's just trying to like defend Achilles a little bit and also stop me from breaking out some. And then what happens on my turn is I start moving the Sukiel over and firing super long distance missiles across the table. I kill Alki, I kill another one of the Thorakites. I think I kill Alki and 2 Thorakites with the missiles because I'm so far away. I have cover and I have mimetism, so he can't shoot back really. The odds are really bad. So he's just like dodging and stuff, but I have burst 2 because of the Triad, so all those are able to go my way, and I basically just kill that Thorakite and Matarkos that was up forward there. I believe the last model of them dies to the Rasail, because I start moving the Rasail out to try to deal with Achilles. She feels like one of my best options for that. So I do manage to kill all of the Thorakites, and then we have a bunch of face-to-face rolls with Achilles. And those don't super go my way. So what I do is I'm just like I put the Trax over here and the Rasail over here. So because I'm trying to pincer him, it's like, are you gonna dodge? Are you gonna shoot? If you're gonna shoot, are you gonna split fire? He wasn't suppressive, so you can't even do that. That was another mistake, is not putting him into suppressive. But the dice go weird. I do manage to hit with the flamethrower, so no more ODD, which is good. But the Traxa goes unconscious, and the Rasail takes a wound. I think also maybe loses the Symbiont or something like that. So I don't actually do any damage to him, but I get the ODD off, which is a start. And then I move the Galrail up, as you can see here, and then there's like a smoke grenade. So I'm doing the smoke shots because Achilles does not see through smoke, so he just chooses to dodge. Believe I win that face-to-face roll, but he hasn't really taken any damage because Achilles' armor is pretty good. And then he just gutses around the corner here. So I didn't really get a huge amount done on my turn. I did kill all the Thorkites that are forward, but I haven't really done more damage to Achilles. But my list is, or my army is a little more developed than the Steel Phalanx one is. So on turn 2, Achilles gets the orders again. I believe some things get moved into Combat Group 1, so that he has the full combat group. After some face-to-face rolls, he manages to kill the Rasail, who's just left out in the open. So he just kills her eventually. I think it takes a couple orders or something like that. And then comes out and starts... so I position myself in such a way so that I can arrow at the Galrail and the Kosual as soon as he breaks here. There's no way for him to just slice the pie on one or the other. But previously in my turn, I had put 2 Panzerfausts into a Thorkite with a Spitfire and killed him, or put him unconscious. So I'm out of Panzerfausts, and I didn't have the orders to reload him, which would have been nice. So the Kosual is not super useful because he just has the shotgun at 0 range, so he's gonna be -3 overall because there's no ODD anymore. But it is to try to like slow him down a little bit. So more face-to-face rolls happen. I lose both the Symbiomates. The Kosual goes unconscious. The Galrail is okay, and then he just kind of stops with Achilles because he's running really low on orders. There's some doctor back here. I think it was part of the Thorkite Enematarkos that walks over, fixes up the Spitfire guy, who's this dude, and I think that gets him as classified as well, if I remember correctly. And then uses a command token to reforge the fire team. So I don't think there's any command tokens anymore at this point from the Steel Phalanx player. All right, so my turn 2. I do the same smoke thing again. So throw a smoke grenade down for the Galrail, start shooting at good old Achilles here. I think I do... Yeah, so I crit him one time, I believe, and then another time he just fails the arm save. Never fell back from this position with Achilles, with guts or anything like that. I think that would have been very smart to have me chase him, because then I also have to like put new smoke down and stuff, so it's a little more order intensive. But he just stands there and eventually dies for it. So he's unconscious right now in this picture. And then I don't go up and coup de grace him or anything like that. The reason being is that I would rather focus on taking out more of his orders, and the Doctor is quite a few orders away from Achilles, so he would have to move up to Achilles, probably taking like 2 or 3 orders, and then would have to pass by the Sukiel missile launcher, so I'm going to get some arrows there, and then he also has to revive Achilles on 14 or something, I'm sure, but he has no command tokens left to reroll that, so it seems very unlikely that Achilles is going to get back up again. And that's the reason I didn't coup de grace him, is because I didn't really have the orders after all the face-to-face rolls to move up here and step on him and then get back to safety. So instead I just went back to safety, and I'm hoping that Achilles is not going to get up again or anything like that. This is a shot of the Sukiel team just moving up. This is where they ended my turn 2. Also on turn 2, I kill one of the net rods with the Liberto. I think I might have killed one of the Thorkites, something like that. So it's looking pretty bad. Achilles is down, a lot of the army is down, he's running out of orders and things like that, and then it's going into his last turn. So he just decides to reposition the Thorkites and the Myrmidons a little bit. Doesn't really go after me or anything. And then eventually this Myrmidon is able to chain rifle these guys. Not super great placement by me. All 3 of these dudes should have been prone so that they can see over each other and stuff, to people that are not prone. Or I could have spread them out or something like that, but it's not a big deal. So I get the Kael'thar goes unconscious. The McCall passes his arm save, and I believe flamethrower back, which the Myrmidon also passes. But at that point, I think that was like his last order or something. So the Myrmidon can't follow up or do anything cool. And then on my turn, I'm already way up on army points because I've lost very little. I haven't lost any of my expensive models, and Achilles is down. So, that gives me a pretty big hint that I'm doing well on the points. We've each lost a lieutenant. I've lost the Rasail. He lost Achilles. Oh, that's right. That's why his last turn was so bad, because he's in loss of lieutenant. So he just moves. He's like moving around with the regular orders and breaking fire teams and stuff. So that's another reason I didn't coup de grace Achilles, is because I was pretty sure he was the lieutenant. So once he's in loss, it's like the guys can't. The doctor can't do anything. It's for him. So I mean, we're even on lieutenants. Nobody's done any panoplies. I'm up on army points, and he's up on his classified. He has one classified done, because I think firefight has two, if I don't misremember that. Yeah, so what I do is I reveal the Calypsos. She's hanging out by the panoply in the middle. She grabs something out of it I don't remember, just so I can get the point for that. And then I just start putting all my orders into the Gaurel Triad, walking them across the board. They're on the very left-hand side, so I move them all the way to the right-hand side. And that's so that I can do the HVT scan one, where you have to be within 8 inches of it and pass a whip check. If you can see it, it's a whip check at +3. So I get him all the way over there. He takes a wound from the chain rifle on the way, because I know he's not going to die. So I just let him have it, and it also makes him 4-4 movement anyways instead of 4-2. So I get up there, I pass my whip check on the HVT, which you can see a little bit behind the building, and then that gets me one of my classifieds. I turn in my other classified for HVT secured, which the Krakot has been obediently standing there all game to get that done for me. So I get both my classifieds, I get more army points, I get more panoplies, and then we split on lieutenants. So again, it's a major victory for me. I think that's like an 8-1 or something like that. I don't remember the score. But another major for me, and I also got a ton of army points because all my Chaxes lived, and I just really didn't have very many losses. What did I lose? I lost the Rasail, and I think that's it. Oh, I think I lost the Liberto as well. So I lost like not even 50 points out of my list. So it was a very big win. And then that was the last round. So I ended up finishing 7th place out of 42 players, which I was super happy with, especially with some of the games that got away from me or I threw or whatever. I was really happy to come back strong like that, especially at my first major tournament for Infinity. That was a really good placing, and I was really happy about it. I think one German guy was playing Tohaa and did better than me, so I wasn't best faction, but I did very well. And managed to get some cool swag. We all got a lock token, a button, a pin, a custom-made miniature that's supposed to look like the Corvus Belli community manager guy. He's supposed to be like a Guangxi or something. So I have that. I'll probably use it as an HVT or something along those lines. And then they had like the usual prize table where, first person picks first, second person picks second, all that kind of stuff. So I got the third offensive book. I can actually bring it down here. It's on my shelf. So I got the third offensive book because I didn't want any product or anything like that. I figured have some fluff, and it's kind of a cool book. And then it's actually signed by a bunch of the Corvus Belli guys, which I didn't actually know when I picked it. So that was pretty cool. So I keep that on my shelf now as a nice display piece, a nice memory for LVO. Overall, my LVO experience was fantastic. I'd heard a lot of bad things about the people that run the event in terms of like making rulings and setting up tables and stuff like that. I didn't have any problems with any of that stuff. I can only speak for myself. Everybody was really cool to me. I didn't know anybody there. I was the only person from Arizona. So people were, happy to talk to me and all that kind of stuff, which was really nice. A lot of people were, excited for me that I did so well at my first event, even though they didn't know me, which was also really cool. So it was just a really good community time. Some of the tables could have been a little bit better, but only 2 of them actually gave me pause. One was a huge water table, and then one is like the inside of a spaceship, but it has long hallways and stuff like that, and I didn't feel enough scatter. But I didn't have to play on either of those, so it didn't really affect me. And 2 tables out of 20-something setups being kind of it's livable, especially when people have to bring tables and things like that, because Infinity is very community focused when it comes to bringing terrain, all that kind of stuff. So that was great. And then to cap off the evening, I got interviewed by a lady from California who was one of the people helped setting up and stuff like that. She was interviewing anybody who's been playing for Infinity for less than a year for, I believe, the White Noise podcast. So if you listen to the White Noise podcast, I think it's out of Australia, then you'll probably hear my voice at some point talking about some like the fluff and rules and things like that. So it was a nice little interview. That was a good time, and I gave myself a shout out on there as well for my YouTube channel, all that kind of good stuff. So that was my LVO experience. Like I said, pretty happy with my placement, even though I wasn't happy with a lot of the games. Managed to really pull it out in the end there. Some of that was likely due to my record, maybe giving me a little bit softer opponents. I don't think anybody I played was bad by any means, but I was definitely noticing that there was some more optimal lines of play that they could have been engaged in and stuff like that. So it is what it is. You take the opponent that's in front of you. I'll definitely be back next year. So if you're going to be at LVO 2020, then expect to see me there. And then I'll also be at a bunch of other events this year. Rumble on Route 66, the one in Utah. I might be going to Adepticon. I might be going to some other things. So I'll definitely keep everybody posted about that. But that was more or less my experience. So sorry not to have really in-depth breakdowns of each game. Like I said, I'm working on it. Infinity is much harder to do battle reports for than any other game I've ever played or seen, because positioning is so important and stuff like that. It's hard to take your pictures right. So if you have any suggestions for that, I'm definitely all ears. And then other than that, we'll be back to your regularly scheduled once or twice a week video battle reports that do go in depth. I actually have one against Steel Phalanx that I'm probably going to start right after this video is all done. So look for that. If you were at LVO or anything like that, definitely give me a shout in the comments or something. I did meet one Spanish gentleman. I forget your name. I'm so sorry. But he recognized me on the first day and said, "Hey, I like your YouTube content and all that kind of good stuff." So that was cool to have at least one person know who I was, even though I'm have barely any videos on my YouTube channel and stuff. But yeah, that about wraps it up. So I'll stop rambling now, and thank you for watching.